Hey, good evening, everybody. Father Miller here. Welcome back to the Nerd Father. Going live again. I'm still using the headphones because my computer that I'm working on does not have the speakers connected to it, so I don't get to hear the sound when I play clips and stuff. Uh, it's going to be an interesting week because I just ask you to keep in prayer the soul of one of the fathers of our priest who died, and his funeral is going to be Tuesday. I'm making a trip out to for the funeral. It's going to be an overnight trip, so I'm leaving tomorrow, and then I'll be back Tuesday night. But one of the things I'm going to be doing when I'm there is I'll be visiting Best Buy because my laptop, which you can see in the background, has had some technical issues. For some reason, the screen had to get replaced this summer, and when it did, it lost the ability to recognize the HDMI input, which allows me to use my TV, which is what I've been using for making videos, and it just gets complicated. The other thing, and I'm not too thrilled about this part, but you can see this little spot here. That is where my T, the letter T key is supposed to be. But for some reason, it came off yesterday. And when I talked to Geek Squad, because I made my appointment, they told me to get that thing reattached. They're going to have to send it away to the Geek Squad store or whatever it's called, just to get a little key reattached to the keyboard. Now, I'm dumbfounded by that. I have to get the battery looked at because for some reason this thing now has less than an hour battery life when it's not on the power cord. That part I can understand. I got to take that in to get it fixed. But anyway, so that's what's happening. But it was an interesting day today. Good day. Very good day. I had 3 masses as always. I have 3 churches. So the main parish and the 2 missions. But after the 3rd mass this morning, I had a baptism, which is always an exciting time. And the gospel this morning was the epitha, where our Lord touches the tongue and the ears of the deaf man and the man with speech impediments. So that's what we do during the baptismal rite. And as I told the people during the last year, I kind of omitted it because of the thing that shall not be named. And the idea that with all the germs going around, I didn't really want to touch lips with that anyway. But yeah, I just saw PD Rich's comment. Good to see you. Yeah, a lot of dross. I don't know. The thing is, I've been with Best Buy for I don't know how many years now. I've always bought the protection plan with them, which in this country, if something goes wrong with it, it's covered, parts, warranty, and everything. The only problem is they have to ship it away. So it kind of stinks. But what happened was after I got home, I decided to watch Cinderella, which just came out on not Netflix, Amazon. I made it 20 minutes before I gave up. Gary had a clip on his channel linking to somebody else. I'm going to play 13 seconds. I'll kind of give you an idea how bad it is. I'm gonna be the sun. I just can't afford to be wrong. Even when I'm afraid, you're gonna know my name. It's just horrible singing. I mean, the thing is, it began with, I guess, whatever his name is, the guy that's supposed to be wearing a dress and everything, who's playing the fabulous godfather, godmother, whatever it is. Just really, really annoying. From the very first words that were spoken, I hated what I was listening to. And as I mentioned in Twitter, if you follow me at FR Miller, I made it 20 minutes. The last 2 minutes, I had the sound on mute because I guess they're working like songs into it. I never was into Janet Jackson. They had Rhythm Nation as the beginning, sing along and everything. Okay, fine, whatever. But they got to Queen's Somebody to Love Me. And it just was, no, can't do this. Pierce Bronson is in it, and it's pretty bad. But there was an article from the New York Post. I'm going to take these off just to kind of show you the article from the Post that explains how bad this thing was. And we got a few more comments on the protection plan. We'll get to those in a bit. Yeah, so I don't know. The protection plan is good because I'm accident prone. The laptop monitor had to get fixed this summer. It got cracked. So that was done for free because that was under the protection plan. Anyway, this is from the New York Post, which, so I was telling somebody the other day, I've been reading the New York Post for almost 24 years. So I graduated college in 96, and I was a web designer before I became a priest. And I lived in northern New Jersey for a year after college. Loved it, being a farm kid from Iowa. New York City, stay on the farm and try to find a job. Well, New York City was the one that won out. It was northern Jersey. Loved it. And I got introduced to the New York Post. I had a daily subscription, so I've been reading it ever since. But this is from the New York Post's review. They gave it 1 out of 4 stars, which I think is a little too generous. So basically, they describe it as a rotten revamp. Is a pseudo feminist claptrap. Yeah. And this is the joke of it. The evil stepmother confides to her stepdaughter that she's a classically trained pianist who never got to play professionally. The Queen, Minnie Driver, yeah. Anyway, complains because her voice is being silent. Her husband, the king, which is Pierce Brosnan, which is horrible. Again, really a horrible role for him. I'm just wondering if he's having money problems. How is the serious marital issue resolved during the grand finale? Okay, well, I haven't even made it that far. It's like a 2-hour, 113 minutes, so about 2 hours. I didn't even make it more than 20 minutes. I didn't even make it through a fourth of the movie. The Queen yells, "You're wrong," at His Majesty, and gets applauded by her subjects. Ooh. Cinderella marries Prince Robert. Never heard of the guy that plays him. And as it says, spoilers, but honestly, this is a centuries-old fairy tale. Cinderella refuses to be called a princess. That's nice. Cinderella is the musical, which makes sense for Cannon, who wrote the far better Pitch Perfect. Now, here we go. There it is. This is where I hated it. This is where I stopped. The Prince croons Queen Somebody to Love. And that part I have not heard. Vivian, I guess the evil stepmother, belts Madonna's Material Girl. The townfolk sing Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation. And as it says, all the performances are ho-hum. Yeah, so I think what we just heard, the clip, was, as this thing says, one of the few original tunes, Million to One, whose Cinderella is an oatmeal blend. Of the few lyrics I understood, and I agree with that, through the singer's garbled, nasal, corporate pop sound, I caught these blazingly original lyric lines. You're going to know my name, and if it's a million to one, I'm going to be that one. Yeah. Yeah, so, okay, it's Billy Porter who plays the fairy godmother. I do not want to get struck. I will just leave the picture there. Needless to say, I'm not a fan. You want to see a good Cinderella film with a guy as the godmother? I would recommend Cinderfella from the 1960s with Jerry Lewis. Ed Wynn plays the fairy godfather. Great movie. A lot of fun. But in Cinderfella, Ed Wynn doesn't show up in a dress. And this is the guy that sang at the DNC convention last summer in a dress with one of Crosby, Stills, and Nash's For What It's Worth. So, Anyway, that is that. So let's see what else we got in the chat. So Derek McManus is here. Good to see you. YouTube me. Good to see you. Evening. Morning for you. I'm guessing you're probably in Europe. No, not Europe, because it's only 5:40 here. So I live in Central Time. So I'm guessing maybe Australia, because I know Matt Porth put a little thing about good night, everybody, and it was 8:30 in the morning here. He's in Australia. What's going on in Australia is kind of scary with the app that's you're supposed to keep reporting where you are. Anyway, let's see. Geek Squad is becoming more and more of a scam. What I don't like is the nearest Best Buy is 2.5 hours from me. So I'm going to have to drive almost, well, thankfully, because the funeral is about a half hour from the nearest Best Buy, I'm going to work that in. But if it wasn't for the funeral, I'm going to have to drive 300 miles round trip. This would be the second trip I've made to get this laptop fixed, and it still irks me that that little white spot there is going to have to be sent away for 2 weeks to get fixed. So Blue Herring is here. Good to see you. PD, the nice thing that was good about Dell, I had a Dell when I was in the seminary. I actually spent a little bit of money on that. Their protection plan included the ability to log in to your laptop from their web server, and they could actually kind of self-diagnose what's going on by taking control of the laptop and diagnosing it there. Yeah, the warranty. Yeah, I paid for the warranty mostly because this laptop here, I paid $1,100 on top of the refund from the last one. So really, up until this one, I put a good amount of money into this one. I probably would say that the last laptop was not able to be fixed. And the one thing that's nice about the Geek Squad plan is that they're not able to fix it, and it's under the Geek Squad warranty, you pretty much get a new laptop. The only thing you lose is the Geek Squad plan that you paid for. So anyway. So let's see. It is Corden and Company trying to... I haven't seen James Corden. I don't know if he's even in this one. I saw... No, that makes sense because I saw a clip of him screeching in the streets. I can't stand any of the James Corden and all that. He did a duet with Ariana Grande, which I don't care for the new music, but part of it was basically kind of like a Hairspray musical, talking about how life's returning to normal and everything, and they're praising Dr. Fauci. My problem with it all is I'm vaccinated. I encourage my people to get vaccinated. I understand why people might not want to, but under Catholic medical ethics, it can be morally permissible. The way that I look at it, and I mean, one's cooperation in the evil that was done in the obtaining of the abortion cells from 50 years ago is remote. It's almost like our tax dollars that are being used for things that we know we don't support, but the government's going to. And a good example would be the Hyde Amendment, which President Biden, and we're going to talk about him, got a few interesting things to say about him. I'm not going to go Father James Altman on this thing, because I honestly think Altman kind of went a little too far. Let's see. Oh, dear heavens. That is bad. James Corbin produced Cinderella. Bad. Cat in Philly is here. I hope you didn't get swept away. I saw the Vine Expressway becoming a swimming pool, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. I hope the water has come down there. For those that don't know, lived in Philadelphia for 4 years, going to the seminary. Philadelphia was one of the towns that got hit by the remnants of Ida. The I-676 is the interstate that kind of goes off from Interstate 76 and cuts through the heart of Center City, Philadelphia, and it ends when it connects with 95, Interstate 95. That little connection between 76 and 95 was basically flooded from the Schuylkill River. I hope Boathouse Row is okay. Let me bring that up for those that don't know what Boathouse Row is. I used to go biking down by Boathouse Row. I used to live, the seminary was right on the, maybe an hour, not an hour, about a mile or two from the Schuylkill. Let me see. So this, here we go. This is a good picture. We'll bring that up. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. Okay, here we go, I think. Okay, so Cat responded. My area got hit very hard. The property was fine. Good to hear that. We back into a creek and our yard was a river. I believe it. Boathouse, good. Boathouse Row is down by the art museum. It's kind of hard to explain, but this is an image of what it looks like from the interstate side. Rowing is really big. They got the regattas, the rowing races, kind of like I don't know how to describe it. We don't have that in the Midwest, but it's really neat to see. I got to bike down there when there was a regatta going on, so you have it's like the sport you see in the Olympics. So, but let me see if I can find the Philadelphia. Okay, so this here will show it, I think. This is from Philadelphia CBS. Whoops. Okay, let's make sure that's shown up. Yeah, so yes, Rocky runs along this road in his train. I thought it was the Ben Franklin Parkway that he's running. I didn't think it was the bike path that runs along the Schuylkill and everything. But again, I could be wrong. It's a 10-ton battle is here. Good to see you. Glad those in the chat who dealt with it are okay. So I talked to my classmate from Philly, who's in the northern part of Philly. He's doing fine. They just got a lot of rain, but thankfully no flooding. Anyway, so okay, so that is that. I'm going to bring up the article on Biden. Now, if you follow the Catholic news, you know that there was a Father James Altman that got in some trouble this year with his bishop because Father Altman made a video saying you can't be a good Catholic and vote for the Democrats. The way he did it was imprudent, and his bishop told him to refrain from doing so. And the problem is Father Altman did not follow that promise of obedience he made on his day of ordination to his bishop and his successors. The bishop tells you to do something, you do it. The bishop tells you to knock something out, you do it. So anyway, but this is something that just blew my mind the other day, because with everything going on in Afghanistan and Texas, with the abortion bill that now prohibits abortions after 6 weeks when the heartbeat can be felt, everybody, for some reason, Facebook is overwhelming me with like American Taliban stuff and all that garbage. But I guess Biden was asked on it on Friday. I didn't get to see this part. I listened to it, but I guess I must have missed it. Biden has flipped on his stance of when life begins. Now, let me see if the clip is on here. It is not on here. This clip is kind of important to hear. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I think we're going to have to switch. Okay, we're going to have to switch screens that we are playing. We'll come back to the New York Post article. Let's see. Okay, so Rocky ran along this road during his training. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Rocky. And again, I'm not saying that Father Altman was wrong in his points. Part of the thing I read was he took the Lord's name in vain. So basically, God, and then the word that I don't ever want to put next to God's name, where you're condemning something to hell. Say, because there's another Catholic apologist on Facebook that has taken a very hard left turn socially. I mean, when it comes to like the social justice issues, basically condemning things to hell when it's like going against the poor and everything. And while that may technically be true, I never want to put those two words together. And I guess Father Altman did that from the pulpit when it came to some of these policies too. Myself, the problem with Father Altman, I think, is that he's kind of, I don't think this was his intention. I really don't think this was his intention. But when you start to get the call of personality, when people start to praise you, then beware. Because you look at Father Karapi, you look at Father Francis Mary Stone from EWTN, who left the priesthood. There was another priest down at EWTN that was friends with. I worked at EWTN for a summer almost 25 years ago. Father John Mary, and he was a priest that made a big change in my life, but then it turned out he left the priesthood. Father Karapi left the priesthood. I remember he came to the Midwest and spoke at an arena of 20,000 people. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, again, you know, the way that I look at Father Altman is he may be correct in his points, but you have to be obedient to the bishop. And if the bishop is in the wrong, then the bishop will be held accountable, while you won't, because you are being obedient to your superior. So anyway, let us switch screens. I'm going to put on Chris P is here. Good to see you. So we're going to put on the mouse is moving a little slow. Part of the reason I want to start a little bit early tonight is because United States soccer is playing Canada tonight, the men's soccer. So I'm going to watch that. I've been into soccer since high school, so I'm looking forward to watching it. It'll be the first soccer match I've seen in ages. Here's President Biden from the other day. Hopefully no ads, no ads, no ads.
Hey, it's Danielle here at 4Patriots with some really great news. Our all-time
strong supporter of Roe v. Wade. Number one. And the most pernicious thing about the Texas law is sort of creates a vigilante system where people get rewards to go out to.
Now that part, I guess part of the Texas abortion bill is that if you snitch on people, you can be rewarded and you can sue them. And that part I really don't like. I mean, the main thing is protecting life. And that seems to be the snitching part is what everybody's focusing on. And anyway.
Anyway, and it just seems, I know this sounds ridiculous, almost un-American, what we're talking about. Not to debate about, I respect people who think that, who don't support Roe v. Wade. I respect their views. I respect them, those who believe life begins in the moment of conception and all. I respect that. Don't agree, but I respect that.
See, that there is bad. We're going to play that again.
Don't agree, but I respect that. On the conception and all. I respect that. Don't agree, but I respect that.
So Biden is basically saying that he respects people's belief that life begins at conception. Don't agree with it, but he respects it. Well, that's the key of being Catholic. We believe life is sacred from conception to natural death. So this is why we believe from the first moment of existence, life has to be protected regardless. And again, this isn't meant to be insensitive, but regardless how life came into existence, it has to be protected until natural death. Now, that means I also am against the death penalty. My state had the death penalty on the ballot a few years ago, and as I told my people, I believe God is a God of infinite mercy, ready to forgive anybody that turns to him. No matter how horrible the thing that they've done, if they turn to him, God is ready to forgive. But sadly, most people do not repent. Well, God is also God of infinite justice. If they do not repent, well, then they've earned their eternal reward in the place where the fire never dies. So this is kind of what gets me a little steamed about President Biden. And the only reason I'm talking about it is, people will say, well, why didn't you speak up against President Trump? Well, Trump is not Catholic. And honestly, anyway. Okay, so the earlier interview which Biden gave to Father Matt Malone from American Magazine was first recorded. Okay, so from the 2015 interview, the president also said he was prepared to accept the Catholic Church's doctrine on abortion as de fide, or an essential part of the faith, and it is. I'm prepared to accept as a matter of faith, my wife and I, my family, the issue of abortion. What I'm not prepared to do is to impose a rigid view, precise view, rigid sound prerogative, I can't say that word, precise view that is born out of my faith on other people who are equally God-fearing, equally committed to life, equally as committed to the sanctity of life. I'm prepared to accept that the moment of conception is a human life and being, but I'm not prepared to say to that other God-fearing, non-God-fearing people that have a different view. So apparently he has changed his view in the last 6 years from believing that life begins at conception to denying that. And yeah, I mean, and this is the other one too. We'll see if we can play that clip. So I told my people this morning just to really pray for the president, to pray that he has a conversion, because, as Jesus says, to whom much is given, much will be demanded. And, I'm going to be judged on how I guide my parish. If I lead my parish astray through scandal, that's going to be judged harshly on me. Just as the bishop is guided or judged by how he guides his parish or his diocese, and the Pope with the church as a whole. Okay, so we're going to have this clip here. Can't stand Psaki. Let's see if we can do this. So snarky here.
Why does the president support abortion when his own Catholic faith teaches abortion is morally wrong?
Well, he believes that it's a woman's right, it's a woman's body, and it's her choice.
Why does the president, who does he believe then should look out for the unborn child?
He believes that it's up to a woman to make those decisions, and up to a woman to make those decisions with her doctor. I know you've never faced those choices, nor have you ever been pregnant, but for women out there who have faced those choices, this is an incredibly difficult thing. The president believes their rights should be respected. Go ahead. I think we got to move on.
Well, society today says that men can be pregnant. How dare she assume that maybe he hasn't transitioned from being a woman that's given birth maybe 3 times, and we live in loony times. But part of me really believes, and again, one of the things I highly recommend, I did a live stream coverage of it a few months ago, was the Archbishop of San Francisco's letter that he issued on pro-life issues. It's really good. You can find it at the Archdiocese of San Francisco. But part of me is thinking, hold on, let me see if I can find the clip. Okay, so one of my favorite movies is from the 1960s, Becket. I'm not going to play the whole thing, mostly because I will get copyright striked. But Becket was a movie from the 1960s with Peter O'Toole and Richard Burton playing St. Thomas Becket. Great movie. Okay, so Here we go. Let's bring it up. Gotta find the clip and gotta be very careful how I do this because, again, YouTube is an unforgiving mistress.
Lord Gilbert, Baron of England by the grace of His Majesty King Henry II, seized upon the person of a priest of the Holy Church and unlawfully did hold him in custody. Furthermore, in the presence of Lord Gilbert and by his command, his men seized upon this priest when he tried to escape and put him to death. This is the sin of murder and sacrilege. In that, Lord Gilbert has rendered no act of contrition or repentance and is at the moment at liberty in the land. We do here and now separate him from the precious body and blood of Christ and from the society of all Christians. We exclude him from our Holy Mother Church and all her sacraments in heaven or on earth. We declare him excommunicate and anathema. We cast him into the outer darkness. We judge him damned with the devil and his fallen angels and all the reprobate to eternal fire and everlasting pain.
So that is the movie Becket. Again, highly recommended. It just finally came out on Blu-ray about a year ago, I think it is. So I'm not saying that we need to have public scenes of excommunication, but somebody basically told me when I mentioned on Twitter that we do need some excommunications, something about careful, the measure you measure out will be measured out to you, and that is true. But as I also mentioned to the guy, I'm not on a global stage proclaiming to be a devout Catholic, publicly denying a tenet of the faith of when life begins. So, again, really to pray for President Biden. Not a fan of his, but he is the president. But again, he really needs our prayers. So with that, I don't really have too much more. I just wanted to start streaming again. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to really be doing this, if I'm going to do it on Mondays or Sundays or Mondays. Mondays are a little bit better for me just because I have a little bit more energy. Like I said, this afternoon, this morning, like I said, with 3 masses, being up early, and then having a baptism, having the luncheon afterwards, and then getting home. So I'm kind of draining on energy for the rest of the night. Soccer's kicking off in about an hour. That's part of the reason I wanted to start streaming a little bit early. So with that, I'm going to be streaming again live on Friday on the Rabbi's channel. It's his turn to host Fans and Faith. And then I'll be doing this Friday afternoon stretch again at 3 o'clock Central. I might try to go live during the week. I don't know yet. This thing will get looked at. So hopefully if they get the HDMI cable fixed, I might be able to start working on some videos. But next week I have to make another trip because we have a pre-study day. So in our diocese, 3 times a year, all the priests of the diocese have to come to our seminary, and that's the idea of the continual education for priests. And the idea of it is, I don't even know what the topic is next week, but it's about from here, it's about a 4-hour round trip. No, 4 hours each way. To get to the seminary is about 3.5, and then I go a little bit further into the bigger city to stay for the night just because it's too far to drive back. And if I'm going to make that distance of a trip, I'm not just going to do an overnight for that. and that gives me a chance to see a lot more friends and everything. So with that, I don't think next Monday I'll be doing the stream. If I do the stream, it might be Sunday. The problem is I'm just trying to decide if I'm going to go into town Sunday or Monday after the Mass. So I don't know. But anyway, hope all is well with everybody. Again, thank you for joining. Getting closer to the 1,000 sub mark, so that will be a fun celebration when that happens. If you're not subscribed yet, please do hit the subscribe bell. Please be sure to share and hit the bell so you can be notified when there are new videos uploaded. So with that, I'm going to do the exit video tonight, and I will say God bless.